Do you ever find yourself feeling unhappy about where you are in life? Maybe you're waking up each day feeling like you're making little or no progress towards the person you want to become. Well, according to the book The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, the reason behind these feelings is because we are measuring success completely wrong. And it's why we often feel miserable about our goals and possibly life in general. So in today's video, I'm going to share just how you and I have been measuring success wrong this whole time, the simple mindset shift that will transform how you view setbacks, and then we'll unpack a daily habit that will really help you see rapid growth towards your goals over the next 90 days. Okay, so how the heck have I been measuring success wrong for 40 years when clearly I'm only in my 30s? Just kidding, I'm in my 40s. Let's go back to the summer of 2022. I was around 1 year into starting this YouTube channel, and I was frankly getting pretty frustrated with my lack of progress. Many of my videos were getting just over 20 views, the channel wasn't growing, and oftentimes I drove home from this studio after finishing up recording and wondered if all the time and effort I was putting into this was worth it. Like so many other small creators on YouTube, I had a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers, but I felt further away than ever at that point. And now looking back, I was focused on the wrong thing. This idea of measuring yourself by how far away you are from a goal or ideal is what Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy referred to as the gap. This is the wrong way to measure success. And one of the issues with focusing on the gap is that it's not something that you will actually ever achieve. This ideal version of yourself is always going to be changing. For example, once I finally did hit 1,000 subscribers, it's not like I was completely satisfied. I wanted to get to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000. The gap is never ending. So how should we actually measure success? Enter the game. This is where you measure success based upon how far you have come. Instead of focusing on how far away I was from 1,000 subscribers, what I really should have been focused on was the progress that I had actually made since starting. Looking back on that period of my life, I made massive improvements in my ability on camera. I was more confident. And even though I thought nobody was watching my videos, 20 people is still a lot of people watching something in the grand scheme of things. That's an entire classroom full of people. Having specific goals is important, but when we focus on the gap, it can lead to dissatisfaction, while focusing on the gain will help you to appreciate your achievements and will motivate you to future progress. Now, I understand that just knowing how to measure success probably isn't going to be enough to flip the switch in your brain to focus on the gain instead of the gap, and this is where Sullivan and Dr. Hardy present a really helpful mindset that will help us get there. Setbacks are going to happen to all of us, but what separates the successful from the unsuccessful is how we frame them in our mind. Let me explain. My kids are at those awesome ages where they're constantly learning new things, and last year it was learning to ride a bike without training wheels for my oldest. Now, when you're learning to ride a bike, you can watch all the videos, read all the books, take all the online courses, but the reality is that you learn most by actually riding the bike. And for us, this meant heading to the field across from our house, taking off the training wheels, me running behind her, and then finally letting her ride off on her own into the sunset. Just kidding. Those first couple of times that she rode off without me, she had to learn how to stop on her own. And that meant a couple of falls. But those falls were incredibly important. She was able to learn what works and what doesn't work when you're trying to stop. And soon enough, she was doing it with ease. And this is what Sullivan and Dr. Hardy stress in the book. We need to transform every experience, whether positive or negative, into a gain. If you were to look at your journey towards a goal as a staircase, this idea says that all of our experiences are helping to build the next stair, whether they're positive or negative. Now, it should be noted that when you're going through a really tough or challenging experience, it can be difficult to see how you're still building towards your goal. The good news is that Sullivan and Dr. Hardy go through a really helpful exercise that you can do on a daily basis that will help you feel like you're making progress every single day. The process of achieving any goal isn't pretty. In the beginning stages of writing my book, there were many times when I struggled to get words down on the page. This started to change when I began to develop the habit of writing every day. And I told myself that the writing didn't have to be the best I'd ever written. It didn't have to be perfectly polished. It just needed to happen every day. And every one of those days where I sat down to write was a small win that eventually led to me publishing a book. And when we really dumb it down, life and success is just a series of collecting small wins. In the book, Dan Sullivan talks about how he's developed the habit of writing down his wins each day before he goes to bed. On the good days, this might feel easy. On the not so good days, this might feel hard. We all have those days when nothing goes according to plan. Traffic, sick kids, a crisis at work. You know those days happen. But when you celebrate your wins, no matter how small, you will begin making progress every single day. Now, a lot of what we talked about in today's video comes down to being confident in ourselves and our abilities. And if you want to learn more about this, check out the video where I unpack 3 daily habits to help you build confidence. I'll see you there.